Hello, everybody. It is day 71 in Food for the Soul Daily Devotional. Welcome back. And the question I have for you today is it too late? Okay. And what I mean by is it too late? Well, how did I come across that? Well, pretty much it's pretty late as it is right now. And I was busy. Life happens. And sometimes we want to make excuses for something we may not want to do or something that we should be doing, but living in the flesh wants to make every possible excuse it can to try to get you away from doing what you're supposed to do. Yes, that's right. I'm supposed to do these devotionals. Why? Because God put it in my heart to do it. And I was just like, is it too late? Is it too late to do it? But do we find ourselves sometimes saying, is it too late, to go back in the opposite direction? And that's the question I had. And as I was saying, is it too late to make this video? And be like, okay, well, I'll do it on Thursday again. We got a guest speaker tomorrow. But I said, no. It's a constant battle. I'm a human being. As much as you may see me this perfect, holy person. Not just kidding. Not even close to it. I was joking, by the way. So far from perfect. But I'm striving for better. And God's perfecting my life. Okay, though it will never be perfect, God perfects us in a way in which He tries to help us be more in His image. So the question was, again, and I keep saying it over, is it too late? And what do you mean by is it too late? Well, you put the word Jonah, and they've been preaching about this, actually, I think, for the past several weekends. Pastor Manoff, I think, Cisco, I believe. So I want to go over the verse that was put in my heart as I was asking this question to myself. Is it too late to actually do this devotional? When in reality, I knew it wasn't too late, okay? But it depends on how the struggle is, sometimes the process of how we do things and how we go about things that allows us to make this decision, whether we decide to say, you know what? God has called me to do something, and I'm going to fulfill what God has called me to do. God has called you, each and every one of you, to do something in His name. A purpose-driven life that He's given you. A purpose, okay, that has been placed, an identity that has been placed in your life to do and fulfill something great. For some of us, we are turning away from it. I know friends, sometimes family members that I know have been given gifts, but because they've been focused on life itself, busy, caught up with everything that's going on, the calling that God has called them has been put to the side. Now we look to the life of Jonah, and God had called him to preach and teach to the city of Nineveh, and he went in the opposite direction. He's like, there was issues and stuff like that back in the days. I believe that they didn't like those people, but God's like, I'm not here to worry about what you want and what you like and who you don't like. I'm here to use your life to make a difference in the lives that I need you to make a life in, need to make a change in. Okay, and if He wants to use your life to change the person that you probably don't like, and He wants to use your life, well, He's going to do it regardless or however you may not want to do it. Okay, understanding that if you decide not to, I'm hoping you don't ever come across this question: is it too late to do what God has called me to do? Then Jonah prayed, it says, to the Lord God from the inside of the fish. In other words, was he out of trouble? No, he wasn't. Okay, he was still praying. Apparently, he was saved to a certain extent. He wasn't dead, I guess you can say, but he was still in the belly of the fish. In other words, he was still in deep waters. He was still living in an area or a time in his life where he was just like, oh my gosh. And he goes describing it up ahead. I cried out to the Lord my God, great trouble, and he answered me in my great trouble. And he answered me. Oh yeah. I called to you from the land of the dead. I'm pretty sure it felt like that to him. A place where he said, this is it. This is my last straw. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to die here. So the last and only thing I have left is to cry out to you. And I'm letting you know how I feel. And Lord, you heard me. And not saying that he didn't hear him. Jonah knew that God was hearing him. Jonah knew that God had heard him. But didn't mean he was going to answer him. That all depends. Okay, and listen, I wrote this. It says, that all depends on how you ask. Okay? Sometimes we say, God, please take me back to where I need to go. But yet you're still living in sin. And he wants to see how strong you are willing to stop doing what you're not supposed to be doing. Kind of like you're in that period of time in your life inside the fish's belly. You're crying out to him. You're not dead. And you know what direction you need to go to. But yet you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And you're like stuck there. And you're like, please, come on, get me out of the situation, God. And you're stuck there. How are you asking him to get you out of that situation? Do you keep going back to that sin? Do you keep going back to that situation? Constantly back and forth to that thing, and you know what you're not supposed to do? Or are you running away from something that God has called you to do, but you're over here on this side going in the opposite direction, saying, no, I'm too shy, I can't do this, it's too late for me to do that. No, maybe if I was like 5 years ago when I was super holy, or something like that. Or, maybe next year. I think, yeah, definitely. Okay? Time is now. Out of curiosity, just in case you didn't know. It says, I called you from the land of the dead, and Lord, you heard me. Yeah, you heard him. And Lord, you heard me. It says, you threw me into the ocean's depth, and I sank down to the heart of the sea. The mighty waters engulfed me. I was buried beneath you, your wild and stormy waves. Then I said, oh Lord, you have driven me from your presence. He didn't feel his presence anymore. I'm pretty sure he knew what the presence or being in the presence of the Lord felt like. And he says, you've driven me from your presence. Okay? He says, then I said, oh Lord, you have driven me from your presence. Yes, yet I will look once more. It says, yet, even though I do not feel your presence, I know you hear me, God. He says, I know you hear me. I know it. And we know that he hears us. But sometimes we say, oh, you don't hear me, Lord. No. Jonah knew exactly the situation he was in. He knew God was listening to him. Okay? But he was waiting to see how he was going to ask him. Okay? He says, yet I will look once more towards you, to the holy temple. He says, he knew it. He says, driven from your presence. The presence wasn't with him. Okay? The presence of the Lord, that joy and the peace that you feel when the presence of the Lord goes with you, when you know you're going in the right direction. But when you're going in the wrong direction, that presence, that joy that you know you should be having, that God has given you, doesn't feel like it's just there. Because it's overwhelmed by the things and the sin that you know you're doing. And that's what's covering your mind. It's covering your soul. It's kind of clouding your spirit to be able to make the right decisions. That's where he was at. Driven me from your presence. I do not want to ever feel that way. It says, yet I will look once more. I sank beneath the waves, and the waters closed over me. Seaweed wrapped itself around my head. I sank down. So you just imagine, it's kind of like Jonah, like explaining, like kind of like the bloop, 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 bloop. Seaweed wrapped around him and stuff like that before he probably went into the belly of the fish. I was imprisoned in the earth, whose gates are locked shut forever. But you, O Lord my God, snatched me from the jaws of death. As my life was slipping away, I remembered the Lord. And my earnest prayer went out to you in your holy temple. Those who worship false gods, turning their backs on God's mercies. But I will offer sacrifices to you with songs of praise. Songs of praise. And I will fulfill. I want you to hear this clearly right here. I will fulfill all my vows. What are vows? When two people make a commitment towards each other, when I said, baby, beautiful wife of mine, I will marry you. I will marry you. I will be truthful to you. I will be faithful to you. And then 2 seconds later, squirrel, how you doing? I love you. Think about it. Vows are promises that two people make. Vows are promises that are made. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a wife and a husband. It could be a vow that you made to pray every day, a vow to lose weight. I don't know, a vow that you made, a promise. But if you have made vows to God, promises that you said you will do this, okay, you need to keep them. For my salvation comes from the Lord. And before that it says, and I will fulfill all my vows. What promises has God made to your life that he wants to fulfill in your life? But yet you decide to go in the opposite direction. You have this purpose in life that he has given you, but yet you want to choose life decisions and life desires rather than the decision and the purpose that God has given you since the creation of time. The identity God has given you. Okay? Then the Lord ordered the fish to spit Jonah out onto the beach. It came down to, how did Jonah ask? He said, man, was it too late? He probably thought it was late because he saw his life flash before his eyes, I'm pretty sure, in being inside that fish. I'm pretty sure he was like, I think this is it for me. The only thing I have left is crying out to him. And I could pray all I want. Is it too late? Is it too late for you? Is it too late for me? Well, you're still here, so obviously it's not too late, which is a good thing. So, question answered. Is it too late? What's this year all about? What has Pastor been preaching about? A new start, a fresh start, okay? Año de reinicio, okay? Swipe everything out. Let's go in the right direction. I don't want to get stuck living in sin. And I know we're sinful, and I know we do. We constantly have to pray to better ourselves, okay? That's why I go to church, okay? I'm not perfect. If I was perfect, I don't think I need to go to church. That's why I go to church, because I need it. We all do, okay? If I'm living in sin and I'm going and I'm enjoying it, or whatever you're doing that you know you should not be doing, which is leading you in the wrong direction rather than in the right direction, ask yourself this question. Is it too late? Because it's going to come to a point where you're going to ask God, please forgive me, please forgive me. And you're digging yourself, kind of like a hole that you're digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. That when you want to get yourself out of that situation, it may be very difficult and challenging to do so. We need to pay the price, unfortunately, for the sins that we do. Well, God paid the price on the cross. That's a beautiful thing. But yes, you do need to remember, as a father, as a child of God, just because, he paid the price on the cross, paid the price in the cross, I can do whatever I feel like. Oh, no, chiquitito, no, chiquitita. Okay? He will forgive you. Your sins will be forgiven, he says. But there's a price we need to pay, and those prices that we do pay for can come for many people too late, because they didn't ask and they didn't change their life completely, or they weren't willing to fully change their life. There's many people that have come out of church, people who've been in situations that they've been trying to get out of, whether it's, just different situations that the youth constantly, things that are confronted, online, things that are on our phone. We have everything in the tip of our hands, and we constantly get distracted from what God wants us to do. Myself, I put myself first, included, but it's something we constantly have to look in the opposite direction. Is it too late to ask for forgiveness? Is it too late to go in the right direction? And not be like Jonah, who realized, is it too late? Yeah, he asked the right question. He prayed the right prayer. And that prayer is a prayer that comes from the heart. And we talked about it yesterday, what it is for having, what it is to have something that comes from the heart. Something that is not words that God just wants to hear, or words that other people want to hear just so they could sound nicely. Guys, again, I have no idea. You know what? I was going to say I have no idea why God put this in my heart. I have the perfect idea why God put it in my heart, because whatever I say ministers my life. In other words, I need to understand that situations that I do, and situations as the leader, that when I think even the smallest thing of me saying, like, you know what, I'll save it for later, I can't. I have a responsibility. And I'm hoping and I'm praying that if you come across situations where you keep putting things aside that God has called you to do, well, I'm hoping that it doesn't get to the point where you're driven so far in the wrong direction that it becomes it becomes so difficult to come back. And it happens. It happens. We have to pay the price. There's consequences for the actions that we commit. Can God forgive us for what we will or can do or have done? Yes, but there's consequences that we have to pay, unfortunately. And the more we dig ourselves deeper, the harder the consequences will be to have to face them. Okay? So let's not get to that point. Let's not get to the point where Jonah got to and went so far in the opposite direction that he saw his life flash before his eyes and realized, like, man, I need to get out of this situation. And the only thing left was realizing I need to cry out to Lord. Thank you again, each and every one of you. I love you. Take care. And keep moving forward. Don't stop. Okay? Keep moving forward. Love you guys.